Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and deceased. It is I, Emily Sophia, aka M Mighty Sophia, here to break down for you guys the latest episode of The Walking Dead. And of course, we are on the penultimate episode of season 6. That is episode 15, East. So, spoiler alert, as I shall be bearing all and diving into the mad thick of things in this episode, major spoilers shall abound. So without further ado, I am actually going to begin this analysis with the end of the episode because, of course, the question of the hour is, what fate exactly has befallen Daryl Dixon? Now, I count myself perhaps among the millions whose jaws dropped at that cataclysmic final moment, but I will say that I find myself in the camp of those who believe that this is not the end for Daryl. And I'm not saying I do not believe that I am blindsided by disbelief, by my inability to accept such a major character death. There are certain editing choices that definitely lead me to believe that this was yet another act of cruel manipulation. I mean, namely, so Dwight shows up completely out of the blue, of course, and then all of a sudden, boom, we hear the gunshot. Blood spatters all over the camera, completely obscuring our ability to see where the bullet even struck, which tells me that they want us to think that it could, in fact, have been a headshot and a lethal execution-style blow. But really, come on, they would have shown it. They would have made it abundantly clear had that actually been the finishing blow. So, and then of course there's the whole like, oh, he's gonna be fine or whatever, which is just such a cop-out. It's like, so you want us to think for like 10 seconds that we just lost motherfucking Daryl Dixon? Is that what you want us to think? I mean, this is what they do. This is how they up the emotional ante. This is how they drive us mad. But I shall not be easily toyed with, and I do in fact believe that there remains much to be seen regarding how the situation is going to unfold between the Saviors and Rosita and Daryl, and then of course Glenn and Michonne, who are still in captivity. Lots yet to be seen. So I count this instance as just another cruel manipulation. Do not be easily swayed. I mean, after the Glenn shenanigans of episodes gone by, I'm pretty cynical these days. Like, you're not gonna pull a fast one on me. So that is where I stand at this point. I also watched the very, very beginning of The Talking Dead, and of course Chris Hardwick pulled the that poll, like, is Daryl gonna be okay or not? And 92% of the voting audience said yes, he's gonna be fine. Which, I mean, hey, could be denial, but with all the editing choices and just the entire way that situation was constructed, definitely a tease. He's probably in bad straits, but he's still here, is what I say. So, yeah, a lot occurred in this episode. And, I mean, we have tons of questions and tons of situations to unpack in the colossal 90-minute season finale, which at this point I think it's probably for the best that they are doing an extended last episode, because of course we have to deal with, okay, what is going on with Maggie? Where exactly is Carol going, and what became of her? What's going to become of Morgan in his pursuit of her? Are the Saviors going to finally reach Alexandria? Are we going? I mean, there are so many balls in the air that are being juggled currently. So we need a lot of time to process and analyze and see what's really going on. So let's first talk about Carol as well, and kind of the mental breakdown that she's experiencing now. I kind of touched on this in the previous week, but I I don't really know how I feel about this character shift for Carol, because it definitely seems like she's in a place that, you know, it could be a situation of PTSD. It could be that she is sort of suicidal, trying to pry herself away from any situation where she is bringing about the death of other human beings. She's unable to connect, unable to focus, unable to experience the familial bonds that she's established over the course of the past couple of seasons. Like, I get that there is a lot that's going on in her mind, but her leaving at a time like this and so suddenly. And it's strange too that the final scene that we have with her before she disappears in the night is with Tobin, of all people, kind of her last minute boyfriend back home in Alexandria. You would think that she would maybe be spending some time with the main peeps, but then again, of course, it all comes back to the issue of her no longer feeling like she can be a part of this community and that she needs to remove herself. And so it's just as well that Tobin would be kind of the last person that she touches base with, you know, and because he's the easiest one to throw off. She can put on a charming smile and completely delude him and then disappear in the night, vanish just like that. So it makes sense, but there's a lot in my mind that's like, why did this have to happen, and why does this have to be the next step for her character? Now, of course, we do still get to see some moments of badassery with her once she does in fact hit the road in her Mad Maxed out car. I'm talking about the spikes coming out on all sides. That was taking me back to Fury Road a little bit. But hey, so she gets her tires shot out by some saviors, and ultimately they are not spared or saved from Carol's wrath, although one of them does actually apparently walk away from the truck and he makes his way further down the field. Was that the guy who ran off from the barn when Morgan and Rick were coming up? I just thought about that. I don't know. I spent the entire afternoon watching Daredevil right now, so my brain is in a whole nother realm. Like, even talking about this show, it's like, I can't handle anything right now. Just the details that are, that my mind is awash with. But anyway, so, yeah, so she's got this long jacket on, so she was actually able to hide her handgun and very deftly take out most of that crew who, once again, were trying to find somebody that they could use to get back to Alexandria. And, well, Carol was not going to be that woman. And I think that there was a lot of truth to what she said about, you know, I'm not really from anywhere and I'm not really going anywhere. That's kind of the state of mind, I believe, that the writers are wanting us to perceive that she is in. Again, it's just really tough because she became such a solid, stable, yet fascinating member of the community, but the fallout of all the revelations and epiphanies that occurred with her and Morgan, and then her captivity by the other saviors, and like, it pretty much just everything that's happened to her recently has created this spicy little cocktail of Carol no longer being able to handle things in the way that we expect. She is, in fact, a fallible human being. And I guess it's good for the show to remind us of that every once in a while. Because if our heroes never take the hits and they're just completely bulldozing everybody around them, then, well, where's the strife, you know? And that's kind of what makes a show like The Walking Dead difficult, is because it's like, where are you going to get the struggle and the tension from? And so every once in a while, you've got to have these character breakdowns. It's tough to see with Carol. I do think that it makes a lot of sense for Morgan to be the one pursuing her. And I really liked that conversation that unfolded between him and Rick out there in the field. It was one of those discussions that could have gone so poorly, especially judging by the way that Rick has viewed the world. But now that he's kind of, he's struck a chord anew with Morgan, they're able to understand each other and to break these things down. And Morgan can continue to present his worldview, but not in such a way as to just be completely shitting on Rick's, or for them to just completely pull apart from one another, like, pushing to the positives or negative sides of magnet together. I don't even know if I said that right. I haven't taken science courses in a long time, but anyway, I hope that you catch my drift. So I think that was a really good moment for them, a good way to part, not exactly knowing how things are going to go down, but best of luck to you, morgues. And I don't mean to say that like morgue where things, dead people go. That's not what I mean. But yeah, so goodness golly gracious. Yeah, we got to see some of the other kind of relational happenings in Alexandria, reminded, of course, of Rick and Michonne's relationship, and the whole bed scene with the apple was very cute. And well, it also showcased the confidence that Rick has developed at this point, and how he's like, oh yeah, we can do this, we got this, etc., etc. This is, of course, before he finds out what happened to Carol, and then everybody kind of starts to scatter, and, well, I definitely think that we should be preparing ourselves for a major death or multiple deaths by next week. So start to process that in your skulls, my friends, because it's a-coming. Yeah, we got some small moments with Maggie and Glenn as well before Glenn and Michonne and Rosita and the crew go off and try to intervene as Daryl is on the warpath to taking out Dwight and his company. And yeah, there is a lot of distraughtness amongst our core crew. There's new relationships, there's questions, there's ideological friction. We're at the perfect point for a big bad to step on the scene. That is for freaking sure. Honestly, I think I said this last week too, but I'm really amazed almost that they've kept Negan for the end. But I do think that the reason why they're doing that is because of, well, the character or characters, plural, who they're going to take away from us. I'm just saying. With a show like The Walking Dead, as much as I can get immersed in it and as much as I can get lost in the story, it's almost impossible to resist kind of situating yourself on the outside and seeing what the writers are doing, what the showrunners are doing, and how they construct these things as you go. I mean, when a show's been on the air for this long, it's kind of a natural way to go. So, yeah, I think Daryl is still in the game, Carol is still in the game, Morgan is going, and there's, I don't know, this whole episode just felt like a giant, like, we've all inhaled, and we're holding, and we're holding, and we're holding, and next week, everything is going to come crashing down in vivid fashion. But yeah, really interesting steps taken to reach that point. So any other major details that I missed in this episode, please bring them up to me, to one another in the comments below. And I'd be happy to chat with you there. Or, this is really just the beginning of the conversation, and I can't wait to break down this finale episode with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, and I'll be back before you know it.